I'm Dr. John McDougall, and I understand where you're confused with so many different recommendations out there. I remember a couple of times I had Dr. Robert Atkins on my radio show, a big radio show on the West Coast in California. And by the way, Robert Atkins never had me on his radio show, and I asked him if he would, and he said, no, I'd confuse people. But I had him on my radio show twice, and you can find one of these recordings on our website, drmcdougall.com, and you could listen to our discussion. And I said the same thing. I said, people are listening to you and you get the same results that I get. Blood sugar goes down, blood pressure goes down, people lose weight. I said, but you do it in a different way than I do it. You do it by making people sick. It's like I could give you cancer chemotherapy, these drugs, and they'd make you sick and your cholesterol would come down, your blood pressure would come down, your blood sugar would come down. But what doctor would brag about giving somebody cancer chemotherapy to improve their health? It'll cause them to lose weight. Of course not. You wouldn't do that. The other thing I asked Dr. Atkins, I said, there are a couple of things that we don't agree on. I said, one is all your patients are constipated. And even in his own studies, 70% of the patients are constipated. And in his studies, 60, 70% of people have bad breath. It's very difficult to stay on a diet that makes you sick, and that's how these diets work. Is they make you ill because you're not getting carbohydrate, which is what the body needs. And because you don't get carbohydrate, you burn fat. And the byproduct of fat metabolism is ketosis. In fact, these diets are even called keto diets. Well, ketosis occurs when you're sick. When you're starving to death, you go into ketosis, which suppresses the appetite. That's how they work. You can't stay sick for a long time. Now you ask about sugar. Do you remember your high school biology? Do you remember the process called glycolysis? That's the burning of glucose. That's what cells do. They burn glucose preferentially. In fact, there are some cells in the body that only burn sugar, like your red blood cells and your kidney cells. They'll only burn sugar. If you don't have enough sugar in your system, say you go on one of these crazy Atkins type diets, strictly, the body will take and convert protein into sugar just to supply the needs of these cells. That's how much you need sugar. Anyway, where we should get our sugar from is from complex sugars, which are known as starches. I mean, who would disagree that you should eat a starch-based diet, particularly since you consider 99.99% of people who ever walked this earth have lived on starch-based diets. If starch was so bad for you, like corn for the people who lived in Central America and Mexico, these are known as the people of the corn. Or the Incas in the Andes, they lived on potatoes. How could they survive for at least a couple thousand years on potatoes if sugar was so bad for you? Or how about the Asian? Up until 1980, 90% of the diet in Asia was from rice. And prior to 1980, they had no obesity and no type 2 diabetes. These days in China, 12% of the people are frankly diabetic, and half are pre-diabetic, and obesity is rampant. So, you're getting a lie. You're getting misinformation. And boy, oh boy, the meat and the dairy industry are really pleased that you're, well, as they say, a sucker was born every day, that you'll buy into this. And yeah, you do lose weight on these diets. Sure you do. Sure you do. You lose 6-8 pounds of water initially, and you get sick and you lose weight for a while, but you can't stay sick forever. So eat like almost everybody who's ever walked this earth has eaten. And that is a diet based on starch, rice, corn, potatoes, sweet potatoes, pastas, breads. And then you'll gain all the health you're looking for. You'll never be worried about being overweight. And sugar is what the body burns. And preferably the sugar, in fact, necessarily the sugar will come from plant foods, whole plant foods. By the way, only plants make sugar. No animal does. If any animal has sugar in their body, it's because it was made by a plant. Even bees, they make honey from pollen. Any milk that comes from a cow that has sugar in it, this comes from the grass that the cow eats. Only plants make sugar. So, don't be misled by these anti-sugar people. Yeah, they got a point. You shouldn't be eating simple sugar. Rots the teeth, causes a rise in high triglycerides. It's empty calories. And if you're trying to lose weight, it's not an ideal thing to pile a bunch of sugar on your plate. Yeah. So they got a point. But why exaggerate that point to such an extent that you're condemned to sickness and obesity? And your problems are worsened by going on these kinds of diets. Why don't you just learn the truth? The human being is a starch eater, a sugar eater. I'm Dr. John McDougall. Very nice to talk to you.